Hello YouTube and hello Ninth Age community. This is Charles Levershade Gaming and I've got another Ninth Age battle report. This is game 1 of Buckeye battles. So let's hop right into the list review, shall we? 100 point list that I took to Buckeye battles. I've got an Inquisitor. He's got the Blessed Steel, horse with light troops, plate armor, shield, dustford, hammer, witches. So he's got that nice 1-up armor save, and he's, re-rolling it, and he's got the 5 attacks. I've always kind of wanted to play with this character. I've always thought it looked pretty neat. I've got the kind of the classic Knight Commander. He's got, 1-up with Lucky Charm, Light of the Sonnstahl, Witchfire Guard. I always kind of like that build. Then I've got a BSB Marshal on a horse with a great weapon. He's also got a 1-up armor save. He's got the Aether Icon and the Banner Speed and the Basalt Infusion. Then I've got a Prelate, horse, paired weapons, plate armor, Alchemist Alloy, Dragonfire Gem, Hero's Heart, Obsidian Rock. Very similar to what I've run in the past with this list. I like that build for the Prelate. And then I just have a Wizard Master with Pyromancy, and he's got the Magical Heirloom for an additional spell. A little bit different for me than usual. 15 Electoral Cav with the Cavalry pick. Full command, Stalker standard. Kind of interested in trying out cavalry picks versus the lances. And then I have a small electoral cavalry unit, 7 with a champion, a musician, a standard bearer, and they have great weapons. So a little bit of a points investment there. 12 light infantry with crossbows for a little bit more shooting. 15 Imperial Guard with champion, musician, and shields for scoring, and a wizard bunker. 3 things of riders, 2 with bracelet pistols, 1 with repeater gun, 24 for Legends to the champion, and a steam tank to round out my 4,500 point Empire Sonnstahl list. My opponent round 1 was Mr. Dennis Laville. Playing Vermin Swarms. He's got a Plague Patriarch on the Plague Pendulum with light armor with a Plague Flail. He's a Wizard Adept. He's got the Future Protection and a Lucky Charm. So that guy's, pretty well armored. 2-up, 4-up. Plague Flail's stupid good still. Wizard Adept's pretty good. Magister, which is also a Wizard Adept with light armor, so he's got 4 spells. Then he's also got a just kind of cheap BSB. 4-up armor save, pistols, potion of strength. He's got 33 Plague Brotherhood. 30 Vermin Guard with the Lightning Rod and full command. 25 Rat at Arms, full command. Then 10 foot pads. He's got 2 meat grinders. And then he's got 3 weapon teams, 2 rotary guns, and a globe launcher, which is quite scary. 5 Jezzails, 2 lightning cannons, which I was kind of amazed when I remember when we were doing the list review. I mean, personally, I'm glad that they're not plague catapults, with all the knights on my list, but the lightning cannons are also all AP-10, so that's kind of annoying too. And he's got 2 abominations, which are also apparently making a comeback. So yeah, very interesting Vermin Swarm list. Definitely something, maybe something I've played against before, but not in a while, that's for sure. Our deployment was Dawn Assault, and our objective was hold the ground. And my opponent got to pick tail sides, so he chose which corner I couldn't deploy in, and and then I got to start deploying first, and I ended up dropping everything to go for turn 1. Before we take a look at deployment, I'd like to be a responsible YouTube battle reporter and show you the spells that it took before the game started. So for my Wizard Master, he's got Altered Sight from his Magical Heirloom, Scorching Salver, Pyroclastic Flow, Flaming Swords, and Fireball. And my opponent's spells is his Magister Adept took the Awakened Swarm and Evil Eye, and then Twisted Effigy. Evil Eye's the attribute. And then his Plague Guy took Hand of Glory and the Grave Calls. So, not, pretty 2 damage spells. 1 buff, 1 hex. Not too bad. Actually, it's a pretty effective magic face, to be honest. And this is my deployment. So kind of where there's kind of hard cut on my left flank there, you can see that's the corner I couldn't deploy in. So starting on the right and going towards the left, I've got both my units of Brace of Pistol Riders. I've got my Steam Tank next to that forest. I've got 12 Crossbowmen in the forest. I've got my Wizard Master with his Imperial Guard bunker next to the forest, and next to them is my giant unit of knights with 4 characters in it. My knightly orders with their picks, even though they got lances right now. I got to make some cavalry pick models. And BSB and the wizard and my general are Knight Commander General next to my wizard bunker, and then next to my knights I have my flagellants, and behind the flagellants I have the 10 riders with repeater handguns, and then behind that, finishing out my deployment, I have the 7 electoral cavalry hanging out. So I was thinking I would just be able to sort of move my knights and my wizard master unit close to the objective so I can start scoring, and maybe be able to keep those crossbows in range of my marshal to give them accurate as much as I can until the knights need to just go forward and do what they need to do. This is another nice shot of both some rears and some nice Empire Sonnstahl models. This is my opponent's deployment. So you can see the corner he couldn't deploy in is where he's got kind of those rats facing sideways. So he's got 2 abominations on his left flank. Then in his kind of middle left, he's got his Plague Patriarch with his Plague Pendulum and his Brotherhood of Rats. His meat grinders are those kind of big tire things. Those are chilling next to his units, which I actually didn't even think about that you can run meat grinders on their own. It's actually quite interesting, considering they got like a 1-up armor save too, so they're actually kind of annoying to shoot at. And in the middle, he's got his BSB and the better rats, not the rat at arms. What are they? The better rats. I don't know, the ones with halberds. Behind one of the meat grinders next to the Plague Pendulum unit is the Globe Launcher, and then he's got a cannon in the back. His Jezzail's smooshed between his cannons. Another cannon. The 2 rattling guns are next to the Rat at Arms with the Magister in that unit, and then his little footpad unit is next to the kind of watching that flank there. Yeah. Another nice shot of kind of a little bit of overview. This is actually the vanguards from the Empire Sonnstahl. My opponent had no vanguards, and then we're going into turn 1. So my opponent does activate his lightning rod turn 1. I figured I'd still kind of try and do as much shooting as I could. So I'm able to give ready and fire to my crossbows. I figure I'm just going to take pod shots with the riders on the left at one of the abominations. And then I want to say that one of my riders can shoot the footpads, hoping to maybe do a couple wounds, cause a panic. I don't think they have BSB or anything. And then the other one is just kind of set up maybe to charge something, honestly, the next turn. Yeah, and I figure the footpads going to the riders that I might actually just be able to win that anyway. The center moves up. The flags move up 8 inches. The knights sort of try and space out in case the cannons want to start shooting them. Even though with this formation, I'm only really saving like 1 wound. But I don't know. I was having a hard time. I wanted to be deep, to be honest, just because I figured that would have been easier and kind of the formation I really want in this game. But I was also nervous about losing 4 knights a turn to the cannons, or 4 knights a shot, or something like that. So I decided I would try and mitigate that as much as possible by being really wide. And I also thought if I do go into the pendulum, I don't have to worry about putting Brace for Impact up, and I can maybe put on the double up, or I can put Steady Men instead. So yeah, but I'm actually both my center units are within 6 inches of the center of the board, so I don't even really have to move turn 2. And I've nice thing now is my knights are really good at zoning, and he doesn't really have any fast shafts, so it sort of pushes him back actually. Turn one, I pull up Flux card one. Keep Veil two Veil tokens behind. I throw a Pyclastic Flow at this Rattling Gun. Unable to kill. I shoot at it with my crossbows. Unable to do any wounds too. Not cool though is one cool thing to have in turn one is my Steam Tank's cannon takes care of one of the meat grinders. Just needs to hit on like a 5-up or something like that. Hits, wounds, 3 wounds. See you later, meat grinder. And then my riders also just don't do any wounds to the rider. I really, honestly, kind of pretty poor rolling for the shooting turn one, but at the very least, activates the lightning rod and gets it out of the way. This is moving into Vermin Swarms, turn one. So he doesn't have any charges, so these guys ran a move. One's nicely perched on that hill. The other one's a little bit more farther forward. And the riders on the left, that is a rune, actually. So everything else is pretty much 3 forests, a hill, and a field, and then just a rune. Yeah, so my opponent moves up just slightly in the middle. He moves his Rat at Arms up with the Magister up, I think, like 8 inches or so. I was actually surprised. I kind of made me wish that I moved my Steam Tank forward. Other than that, he's just going to try and pile in some shooting on me. My opponent gets Flux card 8, turn 1. Although I don't really think he got any magic to speak of. He maybe got Hand of Glory off on his big rat unit, but that I really wasn't too worried about him getting that off. So, yeah. One of the lightning cannons hits the steam tank, does 3 wounds. I didn't realize those things have accurate. That's actually not a bad cannon. I don't know. I feel like I kind of always feel like all cannons are terrible. Maybe it's just the Empire Sonnstahl one that's not so good on its own. But those, accurate for 240 points. Strength 7 is kind of annoying, but the AP 10 is pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, 3 wins there. My opponent made a slight error while he was playing, where he thought that the Rattling guns shoot 360. So, and I'm saying that's fine. You can move them if you didn't know that. He's able to, blow away one of the riders, and then he shoots one of the other rider units. Doesn't kill it, thankfully, and they don't panic. So I got 3 guys there that might be able to do something. And I want to say this is the globe launcher. Shooting at these guys only kills 1 flagellant, so that was good too. This is Empire Sonnstahl turn 2. I put ready aim fire on my light infantry with crossbows right here. I reform my knights, and I'm within 6 inches of the center. I kind of just decided that I think he was. I just kind of realized he was focusing fire on my steam tank, and I kind of thought, like, if he's gonna try and take care of the steam tank next turn, I will probably be in combat next turn, and I just won't even have to worry about it at that point. Skipping ahead, the flagellants are able to charge the abomination on the hill, which I was pleased with. I need to get rid of those A-bombs somehow. I use my riders to chaff. I am able to overrun into the plague unit. I think I needed a 9 on the dice, and at the time I wasn't sure if I just wanted to try reforming. But either way, I sort of thought I would just try and maybe hamper its movement to give myself an extra turn. So, yes, and yeah, the steam tank moves forward a little bit. The riders charge one of the Rattling guns, and yeah, we're just sort of holding steady. I get Flux card 6 this turn, which is much better. I want to say, oh yeah, start with the Scorching Salvo. I think it kills maybe 1 rat, and the whole, I think I hit, like, man, it's like from the pendulum to the Rattling unit. I want to say I killed just 1 rat at arm or something like that. It was very bad. Scorching Salvo. And then I focus a Pyroclastic Flow on this bad boy, and I'm able to kill it. So that was fantastic. Don't have to worry about that anymore. And then I'm also able to force through a flaming swords on these guys. This was actually pretty surprising. This was like a 3 dice at the end to my opponent having like 4 or 5 dice, and just a really spicy 3 dice roll when you get like a 15 or a 16 or something crazy like that. And your opponent just, even with the 5 dice, just kind of rolls low and can't catch you. So able to get flaming swords off, that's great. I mean, that just means this thing is completely toast. Could very possibly kill in one round without it, but with flaming swords, yeah, it's just done. It's dead. Uh, and then the steam tank, 2 for 2 on these meat grinders. Just Cannon just picks another one off, so that was really nice. Especially at this point, I'm thinking, oh man, I've almost gotten rid of all those little small pieces, just those little blocks, and those little blocks are, nothing, honestly. I mean, except obviously the Plague Brotherhood, the pendulum's, big pain in the ass, but the rest of it's, some small stuff. Oh, I think this is showing the crossbow shot at the BSB unit and killed like one guy. It's important to show how every single model dies or lives in the game. This is the Jones taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wounds in combat. Honestly, not that bad against an abomination, and then just smoking that thing. I think they only did 7 wounds, but they're flaming, so that thing just went away. And this is me deciding to overrun and them not quite making it. I want to say I went 7, so. But I figured it'd be nice to go in there and try and do some wounds. I really was thinking it would be nice to try and do like a wound or 2 to the pendulum, because if I can do a wound or 2, I think the Inquisitor just mops it up in a turn. That was kind of my thought process on that, but they don't make it, so I'm a couple inches shy. These guys, they kill the rattling gun, and then they overrun to the rear of this unit. So we'll see what happens there. Who knows? Some spiciness could come out of nowhere. 2 riders and some dogs. Vermin Swarm's turn 2. The rider chaff unit gets charged, so they're gonna have to die into this abomination. My opponent decides not to charge. He's able. That's actually his. I want to say that's his maximized discipline test, not to charge. So he's able to resist that. And he decides just to reform a little bit. Kind of keeps his BSB back, and he moves up one of his rattling guns to start maybe picking on some of my center units if they can. He turns his footpads to face the rear of the riders, just in case they're still there in the next turn. And yeah, this shooting's just gonna see what it can do this turn. My opponent only gets Flux card 1 this turn. I want to say this is a Grave Calls. He kills, I think, 1, 2, I think maybe 5 models or something. Maybe 4 at 4. So not too much. And then this is one of the cannons, putting another 3 wounds on the steam tank, so it's got 6. And this is the Jezzails, those bad boys, putting that last wound on my baby. Look what they did to my boy. Yeah, bummer. It would really. I think he only did 1 wound too, and I couldn't make the 5 armor save. So my steam tank dies. No panic tests are caused, or they're all passed. I mean, this thing blows through the riders and overruns really far to being right in front of the knights. And yeah, this is going to Empire Sonnstahl turn 3. I put Brace for Impact. I want to say the riders are still in combat, which is quite interesting. Stay tuned to see what happens in that one. We decided to charge the Abomination. We have to charge here. I really would have loved to just pass their discipline test, but I mean, I think it's like a maximized 6, so that's really unlikely. So they end up having 2 charge, which is, yeah, it would have been really nice just to sit there and check the thing. We toss a fireball in the magic phase at the Jezzails. Cause a panic, but they stick because they got their BSB there. We do Pragmatic Flow here, and we only do 1 wound. Man, those things are just so tough to get rid of sometimes. They were also able to get flaming swords off again. So the pyromancy is doing work. And then yes, I think we get that guy with the blaze. So that was sweet too. So the blaze from the flaming swords was able to get rid of that one rattling gun. And the crossbows, I want to say just probably pick on somebody. But I want to say this picture is actually showing the riders have lost one model and they're still in combat. The rats have turned around now. Yes, here they are, valiantly just beating these rats to death with their clubs. Those dogs are barking viciously. I don't do any wounds to the pendulum with my flagellants, and we kill a handful of the Brotherhood. I put most of my attacks on the pendulum, and it just, man, all it saves. The 4 up, you know, it's gonna make a lot of saves. And yeah, this is actually the start of Vermisworm's turn 3 now, and this is him declaring charge on my knights. He needs a 9, and I want to say he also wants to charge this BSB's unit into my Imperial Guard unit, but he needed 10, and he fails both of his charges. So he puts Twisted FG on my wizard. In the shooting phase, his cannons were sort of, one was doing really good against the steam tank, the other one misfired turn 1. This turn, they both misfired. One, I think they just both lost a wound, and you can see the Jazales took a wound too. So yeah, the shooting on his turn 3 was definitely pretty limp. The Rat-at-Arms finally beat the Riders, although I want to say they had to chase them down, so that's how they got that far. You can see how this is actually good picture showing how his 2 units failed charged forward. So definitely gave him some distance, but also meant that yeah, he's really close to me now. Going into Empire Sonnstahl turn 4, I decide to finally charge with my knights, and after much deliberation, I just go for his BSB's unit, since it seemed like the low-hanging fruit in this case. And I move my Wizard Master's unit over here to toss some Pyromancy out. I throw Pyroclastic Flow at these guys right here and do the 3d6 version. And man, I mean, you can see how many I've just killed there. They're down to what, 7 models in the whole unit, and there was like almost 20 there. So it was pretty sweet. They panic. And then going into combat, this is, I want to say, the Knight Commander killing the BSB, and the Prelate killing, and the Prelate and the Inquisitor killing, and then he went, and then the rest of the Knights went, and we just kill a bunch of them. I moved up my Knights, you can see right there, to chaff the Pendulum. We overrun, and we do not catch his BSB unit, although crucially, the Knights remained within 6 inches of the center of the board, very luckily for them, like, not getting the the BSB's unit. This is Vermin Swarm turn 4. My opponent declares a charge against the Knights, and I thought about this, and I thought, instead of giving up the points, I liked the idea of just sort of fleeing, and I thought if I flee, I might be able to get away, and even if he catches me, he's going to be like way out in the middle of nowhere, and I won't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. So he declares a charge against my little Electoral Cav unit. They flee, and then he's able to redirect, and he charges my Wizard Master's unit, which probably didn't think that through very far. They have to flee, and you can see they're both right there. And then he's able to charge the Footpad unit into the Imperial Guard. They have to flee. They panic the crossbows, who also flee, and everyone's pretty much fleeing except the Knights, and the Footpad, and everyone failed charges. So thankfully nobody gets caught. BSV's unit does not rally. They run off the board, and that's pretty much it. And then goes into Empire Sonnstahl turn 5. So in turn 5, I charge this cannon. Yeah, maybe this is just, yeah, this is, oh, he rallied his unit turn 4 too. Yeah. Yeah, he did a little magic, but I don't think it really did much. Yes. So this is now Empire Sonnstahl turn 5. My knights go into this cannon. I'm sort of like debating about mopping up points. And then this happens where my wizard bunker flees off the board. My knights continue to flee, and then my light infantry rallies. So definitely wasn't expecting this. I guess that's the era of fleeing. You can sometimes just go right off the board, even if you need an 8. Yes, so I am able to easily mop up the cannon. The Jezzail's panic off the board. The other cannon is fine. And I just decided to turn right around because I'm thinking I'm either going to have to actually deal with the pendulum unit, or now I need my knights to score in the middle of the board so I don't lose the objective. Because I've gained 2 points at this point, but that's not enough, to just say I've won the objective in this part of the game. So I turned my knights around, and I think this is maybe them taking a couple wounds from the cannon or something. But kind of the rest of the game ends up just being he has his foot pads and he has his pendulum unit next to the center of the board to score. So he's able to get 1 point on turn 5. I decide on my turn 6 to charge the foot pads. Again, I was debating if I wanted to go for the pendulum or the foot pads. I was almost kind of thinking he would just flee with the foot pads, but he ends up holding, which I think was actually a relatively smart move. And the magic face, I feel like he sort of just let me get bound spells off. So I'm able to get reroll to wound up, and I'm also able to get up the 5-up Aegis save. I don't know if he just was like thinking like, whatever. So they have, the knight unit has this point on my turn 6, reroll to wound and 5-up Aegis in close combat. So now I'm thinking like, there's no way this guy's gonna go into combat. So I just turn to face his pendulum, keep myself within 6 inches of the center there. I've got 2, he's got 1. If he wants to tie, he has to like go in my knights and break me. And he just sort of gets a little magic. He tosses a little stuff at me. I lose some more knights, and that's the end of the game. I'm able to keep that objective, 2 versus 1, and that's it. Yeah. So this game ends up a 16-4 Empire Sonnstahl victory with the objective win. I feel like I couldn't complain about that. I thought that was pretty dang good. Good, first game win. Yeah, would have loved the wizard to rally. But, hey, sometimes the wizard just flees off the board with his bodyguard unit and just goes home. Even after, especially because the pyromancy did a lot for me this game too. So he's like, I've done my job. I'm just gonna go. Yeah, I really wanted to see the Knights versus the Pendulum. I feel like I rolled that out so many times, and I feel like the version I was playing against was the Basalt Fusion Plague Patriarch, and against that version, my Inquisitor is much better. Against the Future Protection one, it's just that much worse when it has like that little extra pip of armor, and it does those toxic hits for every armor save it makes. So yeah, I really wanted to fight that unit, but I also felt like just most of the time I didn't have anything else to guarantee that, I didn't have anything to hold up the BSB's unit. I didn't have anything to, stop myself from getting flanked if I went in that one turn. And then at the end there, there's no guarantee that I break that unit in one round of combat because, it's stubborn. And if I don't kill the Plague Patriarch, it's just going to sit there. So, yeah. Yeah, fun game, though. Thanks, Dennis. Good luck to you for the rest of the tournament. Thanks, everybody, for watching. And if you want to stay tuned, I'm going to show some pictures of the army that I voted for General's Choice at Buckeye Battles 2020 and the player who won General's Choice for Buckeye Battles 2020. So there was only one Undying Dynasties player at Buckeye Battles 2020, and it was this army right here, which not only did I think looked very pleasant to look at, but definitely one of the more interesting, just looking armies that I've kind of seen in a long time. Obviously, definitely using some Games Workshop miniatures, and then I think some of those are Mantic, some new Romantic ones, but very interesting. So in the front, he's got 4 chariots. Obviously, I think that's like one of the best ways to do chariots. He's got some skeleton cavalry, which not a lot of people see skeleton cavalry, but those are some gorgeous looking skeleton cavalry. He's got those beautiful worm things as his cataphracts. Behind the worm things is like an explosion of undead out of the ground, and that's his sand scorpion. He's got some little vultures. The two kind of big things with big units with swords are his. I'm trying to think what they're called. Ushapti with bows, and he's got a little bit of archers, a little bit of skeleton block, and then that big guy up at the top there is his Arc of Ages. One of the things I really appreciated about this, some more different kind of angles and some close-ups on some certain units. One of the things the reason why I felt compelled to give this man General's Choice is the little bit of fluff that he wrote for his army. That was simple and compelling. Really enjoyed that. So this is just a little shout out to Rob Phillips, who brought this Undying Dynasties army. Congrats on you for winning General's Choice. It was very well deserved. That Arc of Ages right there is just excellent. What a great model. Man, very fluffy, very interesting. Definitely different take on the Undying Dynasties there, but quite nice. And that's the fluff there if you want to read it. So thanks again for everybody watching. I hope you enjoyed this little hobby treat at the end of the video, and we'll see you soon with this little sneak peek right there of the next game of Buckeye Battles 2020.